Alright, hello. I'm back with another script. This being my supply drop and or unload script. Generally I call it supply drop. But here we have helicopter coming in. This time it shows a little bird. And it's supposed to be dropping off a box. There we go. Some reason the engine shut off. They do that at times. I have a failsafe for it, so they always take off anyway, but it's weird. Anyhow, it has come in. It's now flying off to its egress marker, and this is the preset resupply box that I have in the script. Yeah, it delivers some titans and some ammo and some stuff basically. Yeah. That's it. I'll walk you through it now. Alright, so what you're gonna want to do is you're gonna want to download the supply.rar and we're gonna jump into our mission. I'm using test.altis as usual. I'm gonna pop it in here and I'm gonna extract to here. Alright, can delete the rar file, and here I have my supply script. What you need to do is you need to put this in a scripts folder. So you need to create that folder and then just put it in here. Now, since I already have it in this mission, I'll just replace everything. Alright, let's go in and you can set up, let's go with setting up a static one to begin with. So I can remove this little piece of code. And let's create a new set of code. Since I'm gonna put this in a trigger, we're gonna need to have null equals before we call the code, otherwise the trigger is gonna give an error. So parameters, first off, side of the heli crew. So if you want it to be west, east, or independent, basically. So open bracket, let's go for independent this time. So the crew is gonna be independent of the independent side, so basically AAF, and well, it is gonna be AAF by default. Sorry. Class name of the type of helicopter you want to spawn. If you leave it empty, like two quotation marks, it's just gonna use the preset helis, which would be for the Blufor would be Black Hawk. For Op4 it's gonna be a Taru, and for the independent it's gonna be a Hellcat. But you can also put in whatever type of a helicopter you want in there. So if we go in here, let's go into independent and let's take helicopter. Let's say I want this one. I want this one. So we can place this one. Now we can click it, right click, log classes to clipboard. You can go back to your script, put the cursor in there and just put it in, paste it in there. Right, so that's the helicopter we're going to have. Now we're going to choose whether we want it to paradrop the supply box or if you want it to land and unload the box. So what I showed you previously was the unloading. So this time let's use the paradrop feature. So quotation marks drop, quotation mark, and next the next one is the spawn target's position to land or drop the box and the despawn. So open bracket, let's call the spawn marker for spawn, and then we'll use target where we want to drop it off, and despawn where we want the helicopter to fly away to basically despawn or egress. Alright, and a comma, and here we have box content. So you can use the any type of script in here by just entering the pathing for the script you want to run in this section of the script. If we go into our supply box, you have another folder in here, supply box templates. I have some really quickly put together. So here you have the supply box. You can modify this as much as you want. All you need to do is just copy paste this and change the thing you want to add and how many you want. So yeah, nothing fancy about that really. And I also have a medical but let's use the medical one, just because. Oh, I need to update that. Never mind. So medical.sqf is what I want to use. Ah, crap! I closed this. There we go. I do that all the time. So scripts, Neki supply box templates, and then instead of resupply, we're going to use medical. Okay. What you can also do, if you want to, let me just clip this out. You can use a code and enter everything manually. So basically everything I had in the template file you can enter in here. For example, clear, weapon, cargo, and then we need to use _box, I believe, to make it work. Yeah, use _box instead of this in the code. So this will spawn in a basic ammo box, and then it's gonna remove all the weapons from it. And then you can add magazine, cargo, and yeah, just do the code manually all in there. But that's gonna get very, 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 very tight and annoying. So just I recommend using the files, just executing them that way. And the last one is whether the helicopter coming in dropping the supplies should be vulnerable or invulnerable. So true means it can take damage and fall out of the sky if you call it in a bad place. Next, we need the pathing for the actual script. So we're gonna spawn an independent helicopter crew with this helicopter here, and we're gonna paradrop, and it's gonna spawn at the marker spawn. It's gonna drop the box at the marker target, and then it's gonna egress and fly to a marker called despawn, and basically just despawn there. The box is going to be filled with the content from this medical.sqf, and the helicopter can take damage, and then execute the file in scripts Neki supply.sqf. Yeah. So copying this, jumping into the map. Let's just prep this. I guess I should go independent since that's what I'm calling in. I'll be a crewman for this time around. Let's place a trigger over there, so as soon as I walk into this, there we go. So as soon as I walk into this, I'm gonna call this code, and it's gonna spawn at the marker spawn, which I haven't created yet, so excuse me. So let's create the spawn marker right there. Let's call it spawn. Next, we're gonna do the target marker. Let's put it there. Target. And then we'll do despawn. Where should we have it? Let's just do it there. Despawn. Alright. Save. Play scenario. Let's see to it that this works. So the field is dead by. Alright, I had a little lag spike there, so it should be incoming. I'll just fast forward time for you. And there we have the helicopter coming in. So it's coming in here, and it should drop the box shortly. There we go. There's a parachute, there's the box. Now when it reaches a certain altitude, it's gonna drop, or it's gonna attach a smoke grenade to the box, so it'll be a bit easy to track if you call it in the woods or whatever. The parachute isn't really invisible itself, but the smoke stays around in the air for a short period of time. Arma and parachute physics isn't really beautiful. I don't know how to improve this, so I'm afraid you're gonna have to deal with that for now. If I do figure out how to do it in a better way, then of course I will update this download link. Alright, so if we access the inventory, we have 50 first aid kits and 2 medikits. That should be what we have in the medikits file. Let's see here, template, medical, clear everything in the box, and then add item cargo first aid kit, 50, medikit, 2 of them. So there we have the static, as I like to call it. It's just completely run by trigger, or whatever script, and you can't really choose where to call it in. Now the second option would be to use, let's remove this one, let's remove that one. So we still have the spawn and the despawn, but this time we're gonna go into the supply box script again. Oh, sorry, Necky supply script, folder. And if we look here, it'll say, you have an example of how to put it together, but to set it up using radio calls, which is when you click 0 and 0 again while in game, we should go into Necky supply init for more information. So let's go in here. Now, what this wants us to do is to put this in the init.sqf. So let's go back into here. And then we're going to place it in the init.sqf. If you don't have that file, if this is pretty much how it looks in your mission folder, then just create a text document, call it init, and replace the extension name for .sqf. Now in here, you just copy paste this. It should all be good, presuming you put my supply drop in the correct folder, which you need to do, otherwise it won't work. And this needs to be run for everyone. Alright, having done that, go into Necky supply settings and edit the callers you want to be allowed to run the script. Okay, so let's go into scripts, Necky supply, and Necky supply settings. Alright, so here we have callers. This is the list of units that are allowed to run your script. So what we need to do is we need to think of a name. So let's do the most commonly used one, I believe. I need to click the unit. There we go. Let's call this dude. So I'm dude, and in order to call in supplies, I need to be called dude. And in order to set this up, you need to use quotation marks around the actual name. So there you go, dude. Now only dude is allowed to call in supply drops. And next you have the channels that will be created. You have a channel description here, so let's keep these. Let's just create a new one. So add a comma there, and then we're gonna call what's after delta. The first parameter needs to be the name of the channel, which is a preset channel name. So you need to use echo, comma, parameter 2, string description for the supplies that will be seen in the map screen. So in the map screen, it's gonna be a certain or a separate little line or category there called support, where the supply drop will also be put in, so you can see what is available. So we're gonna call this my box. All right, parameter 3, the side of the helicopter crew. So now we're coming back to the basic script we've already gone through. So let's go independent. Yeah. The helicopter class name, and let's use default this time because I don't feel like looking for the class name this time. We're gonna get a Hellcat anyway. Parameter 5, string, set whether it will paradrop or if it's gonna land and unload the supply crate. So let's go for unload this time. Next. Array of strings, yes, parameter 6, spawn, target, and despawn. By typing _pass instead of a marker name in the target, this will make it so that you can select the target position yourself. So you can use this so that you can call in the supply box and it will come to a predetermined position. But if we do _pass, it will bring it to whatever position you will get to click the map where you want it to arrive, basically. I'll show you as soon as we get this pass. So the spawn marker we called spawn, and then we're gonna dynamically get to choose where we want the box to be dropped or unloaded. and then despawn. There we go. And then we have parameter 7 code or string content for the box that is delivered. So this goes. Let's do a resupply this time, just because I don't feel like making a new one. I'm gonna presume you know how to change that little detail, otherwise there's millions of videos about it out there. So next we have yeah, right, if we want the helicopter to be vulnerable or invulnerable, let's just make it vulnerable. Alright, so that's the last channel. Something you need to just keep an eye on is if you edit all of this, if you have more than one of these channels, you're gonna need a comma at the end, but the last one may not have a comma. If you have a comma at this one, the final one, the script is gonna bug out and go crazy. So just make sure that you have one comma in between each of these channels, but not one after the last one. So now we've set it up, we have these 5 channels. The first 4, well, let's modify these so that they actually work as well. There we go. So now we have all these 5 options. Only dude can call it in. What's next in here? While in supply settings, you can also edit channels. Yeah, remember to add names from callers to your units in game. They're supposed to have actions. Yeah, all that is done. Now we just jump in here, save, and we'll play scenario. Now, if we wait a few seconds, the radio should come available. There we go. So click 0 again, and then you have 5 options here. And if you forget which one is which, you can bring up the map. Oh right, we need to close that one. And then you have the supports category, and then subcategory supply drop. And then you have radio Alpha Bravo Charlie Delta Echo, and this is resupply box, medical box, another resupply box, but this one is Paradrop, land and unload. And we have Echo here, which is the one we made, so my box. So let's call in Echo just because we can. So let's scroll down to Echo, or just click 5. Map opens up, and now we get to select where we want to drop it, or where we want it delivered rather. So let's have it delivered into that intersection there. Alright, it's going to create a marker, and that means it's going to be delivered pretty much there. Alright, I'll just fast forward time for you guys. Alright, so now I can see the smoke. A smoke will always be deployed on where it's planning to land. The helicopter's coming in right there, and it seems to be a Ghost Hawk. Did I screw up somewhere? It appears something is wrong. Very, very wrong. Are those guys Blufor or up for? Those are Blufor. Why are those Blufor? That is very, very confusing. Didn't I select Echo? I think I did. Alright, anyhow. We have a Black Hawk here. Crew and everything. And it's gonna pop out a box a few seconds after. There we go. Now, if you walk up to this box, this is supposed to be the resupply box, and it's full of resupplies and stuff. Helicopter is flying away to wherever it's supposed to despawn. Alright. Now, I'm just slightly confused to why we didn't get the correct box, but anyhow. Let's bring up the radio menu. You can see you can still select any of these. So if we just go into the map, and we have, for example, Alpha Paradrop. So let's just call in a Paradrop just because we can. So go Alpha and select where you want it dropped, and then we just wait. And there we have the helicopter. Now remember, this one is supposed to be a Blufor helicopter because that's what it says in the settings, because this is radio Alpha. I dropped the box. It's not as accurate as the land and unload, as you can see. We'll see, it's coming this way at least. So yeah, what you're gonna want to do is land and unload is for secured landing zones, and the paradrop box is for unsecure areas when you don't have full control of whether there is AA in the area. So it's a lot safer for the helicopter if you call in a paradrop, but you might need to run a bit if you want to get to the actual box, because it's not going to land exactly where you want it. And this should also be a resupply box. Yeah, there we go. So that's how simple it is to set it up. I'm gonna look into the little issue with there not being a default independent helicopter with an independent crew, even though we enter that into the script. Let's go in here, let's go for settings. It's supposed to be an independent. I'll have to look that up. I'll just post whatever the issue was in the description file. Oh, sorry, in the description part of the video down below. So I'll just make that work in the near future. If you put in a specific helicopter, I believe it should be working as intended. So thank you for watching and have fun.